Hello, welcome back to the Salty Trial podcast, where we talk about anime and other various topics that we get off the rails and start blabbering about. Um,
And we actually got the name right this
Yes,
time.
for the third time. There's a saying for that, isn't there? Third time.
Third time's the charm.
Third time's the charm. We have a different saying in the Netherlands, but goes on to do the same thing. Yes, we are the Salty Triangle. That is our name. And today, I picked a
Speedy,
topic.
you just completely hijacked the hello from Pory. You know that, right?
I'm sorry. Pory, you get the. How do you want? Do I need to shine the highlight back onto you?
well, I would have loved to have, said, all right, we're going to talk about this and then talk about that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
you're being intentionally vague.
I haven't mentioned it yet, so you can you can have the highlight back.
We plan on talking about seasonals and seasonal structure, and if that's good or if that's bad. We'll see if we actually get onto that, but we're going to start how we always start with our weekly wrap up of what we've been watching. So we can start with Speedy, I think.
Yes, because I did want to actually start with you last, because structure.
Start with me last. You know what we call that finishing?
My English is very bad today. I'm a little tired, but it's fine. That's fine.
You're fine.
I'm fine.
Oh yeah, quick disclaimer. I've been talking mostly French for the last 2 days, so I'm sorry if I randomly switch to French because I don't remember
We'll
English
remind
words.
you. I'm pretty sure we'll notice.
Yeah. If you start talking French, I think it'll be pretty obvious.
If you start talking French, this is a
Maybe.
French podcast. All of a
Peut-être.
sudden.
If I start understanding what you're saying,
Okay.
there's something wrong. I feel that way.
Alors, commence maintenant, je vais parler juste français avec tous les gens. Especially
True.
I agree wholeheartedly. Yes. Oh, man, true words were never said. I haven't even the slightest. But whatever. I have been watching a few things, or rather, I've been stalling a few things, because I decided to continue on my list that I have. I have my own list, my own system. We'll get to our systems of how we watch stuff someday.
Maybe one of
First-
these days in 1,000 years or so.
Firstly, I would finish Cowboy Bebop again, and I think we've talked mostly about that last time, and I don't really have anything to add since I just finished those last two episodes. But what I did want to mention definitely is Digimon, because I am sitting here in a podcast with two people who highly regard Digimon, and
I don't know if I'd say that, but I like kids shows in general.
and I couldn't get into it, but Sheila just told me previously, because it was her choice for me to watch it, and she told me, you're gonna have to finish the first 12 or 13 episodes, and after that it's gonna get better, or it's actually gonna kick into high gear. But is because Digimon
Yeah,
is
because
like
the show was written, the show was originally written to be, basically just a 12 to 13 episodes, basically elongated commercial, overglorified commercial, right? So originally only those 12 to 13 episodes were planned. That's all the show was supposed to have. It was supposed to be cheap because, it was just supposed to help the sales for the games. And it shows. Like, it really shows.
Do we need to explain what Digimon is? I think everyone knows what Digimon is. If you don't know what Digimon is,
I mean, everybody who doesn't know what Digimon is needs to get out of their hole.
if you don't know what Digimon is, it's Pokemon, but some say it's better, others say it's worse, but it's it's a similar concept. It's Pokemon, but then isekai.
No. The general consensus is that the Pokemon games are leagues better, but the Digimon anime are leagues better.
I don't know, the Pokemon. anime is
That's the
pretty
general
fun.
consensus
Pretty
here.
Is that a disagreement? I hear that, Pory.
I've only watched
How dare you, Pory?
10 episodes randomly on Kicks, but which isn't a TV station anymore. So I think that explains my exposure to Digimon.
Oh, you've never actually watched it?
No, I've watched 10 episodes when I was like 10.
Oh. Okay, when's the last time you watched it, then, Shayla? Digimon. Season 1. Let's say Season 1, Adventure.
Season 1. I was in the US, so it must have been somewhere between 2015 and 2017.
What did you think of it then?
Same as I thought of it the first time. Okay, I first two times I watched it, I was a lot younger.
Of course.
So like I was much more forgiving, and that was like the second, like when last time I watched it, I really noticed, just how weak some of like the first few episodes especially are.
Yeah.
Especially in terms of like about how very formulaic it is, and it really like picks up. Like the formulaic part. I mean, it still has that Monster of the Week vibe, but it's not quite as it's not quite as cut and dry anymore after those 13 episodes. And like one thing I've really noticed and was very, very impressed by is the themes that it touches upon and how maturely it handles them in ways that you don't see even to this very day. But yeah, I also noticed like the first 13 episodes have their moments, like have very strong moments, especially when it comes to the character writing. And you notice from the get-go, like none of these characters are really are two-dimensional anyways, but it's still very clumsy at best.
Yeah, that's how I would describe it. Because I mean, I can't really tear it down because I've only seen 3 episodes. I hope to eventually finish it sometime if I get through the first 13 episodes, and then I'll see if I like it.
Yeah, to be fair though, like even amongst the 13 episodes, like the first episode I find, or at least like the beginning, I find fairly strong because it has that isekai hook but done right? You're like, okay, what's going on? And then they get to like this like really wacky wonderland, and I always loved like the Digimon of the original series, the Digimon Wonderland. I mean, you have like random telephone poles hanging around everywhere.
That's the best part. The mystery.
Yeah, glaciers next. Yeah, exactly. The mystery. Like, what the fuck is up with its world? This is so wacky, and I really love how creative they get with like the things that the world does and how the world functions. So that's another really nice aspect. But yeah, the first, I would say, even amongst the first 13 episodes, the first maybe episode 2, 3, 4, and maybe 5 as well are a slog. Let's put it that way.
The mystery is what made me even go beyond the first episode, because there's something going on in those telephone poles where they were kind of clever, because they've landed in a different world, you think, and then there's a remnant of the world where they came from, and then there's also the tram in the third episode. But that's about it, and I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about this. But one thing I want to mention is, God, the monster designs are so ugly. I hate the monster designs so much.
Actually, I like the monster designs.
I don't.
Well, I mean, okay. Here's the thing: is like I don't really remember exactly which monster designs are. Like I like the small Digimon, most of them. I don't really know or remember much about in the first few episodes what the big monster designs looked like. But overall, I actually really like the monster design in Digimon.
It's mostly the smaller ones that I really dislike, and then there's also the huge big one, the insect one in the very first episode. That one is god awful. Maybe it just doesn't appeal to me. I guess that's what it usually comes down to.
Again, I don't really. Oh yeah, right. That was the red one. Yeah, it's fairly generic. That's true. Probably because like there's most of the monsters at some point, like once the series picks up, like get a lot of death in like in their character writing, and so because of that the character design picks up as well. But it's quite obvious that the first few monsters that they show are just basically like, okay, what's like the most basic monsters we can use just to have like a generic thread, which is not the worst thing to do, because the first few episodes really focus on the children and getting to know the children, so there's no real use into going much into like the threats, their stories, their their motivations or whatever.
I mean, it felt like because I haven't gone beyond the third episode, but it felt like the anime was going to go for a spotlight of every week for a different monster, because the first spotlight was on the monster of the main kid who got their evolution, and then the third episode had the evolution for the grumpy, not really the grumpy kid, the kid with the harmonica, right? And I felt like it was going to have that
Oh,
formula where...
the Lancer, Matt.
Who?
Yeah, that's Matt. He's the Lancer of the group.
Matt?
You don't know what that means.
No, I
He clearly wasn't paying attention.
very clearly don't know what a Matt is. No, I don't...
No, okay, sorry. Matt is his English names.
Right,
Shit, what was his Japanese name? I forget. But you guys know what a Lancer is, right?
I
Please
know
tell me
what
you
I know what the...
is. Speedy, you're a writer. You need to
I
know
know
what a
what the
Lancer is.
Oh, it's based on those five stereotypes.
Yeah, the
that
group
you
of 5.
need as in the group of 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except I don't really know exactly what all of the...
The Lancer is the foil to the hero.
Yeah.
You have the hero person who is usually the leader of the group. The Lancer is their foil, meaning he's the one constantly challenging him, usually much more of a loner type. Kind of emo often, and again, like often being a rival to the hero, and challenging his beliefs, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. That's the Lancer.
Like Sasuke. That's also Lancer, right?
I don't think you can really count him as a Lancer. At least not once. No, I don't think you can count
Why not?
Sasuke as a Lancer.
He's perfect in that way. He is the complete opposite of Naruto. He's moody, emo.
But he's not a teammate.
He is a teammate in the first half of Naruto.
So Gray is a Lancer.
Yeah,
From
but
Fairytale.
here's the thing: is like the other part is Naruto isn't the hero. Like he's not the hero archetype. He's not really the leader archetype because how do I put this? The dynamic in Naruto is really different. You really can't put that into the
Okay.
5-man band.
Well, I guess.
Like none of them really go into the 5-man band except maybe Sakura being the heart, but even that doesn't work so well because of how she treats Naruto.
And how Naruto treats her. A Digimon, and then there was also Lucky Star. And I made the big mistake of not watching the first episode.
Yeah, because that's fucking the best one.
I wanted.
Well, maybe not the best one. It's like top 3.
I wanted to watch rewatch the first episode after you told me I needed to rewatch it, but I didn't have the time. So I can't really say much. I mean, I can't say something about it because I think I remember what it was about. It was about the one suite, and they talked about that suite for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
There is a
I
14.
remember
There is a
when
14-minute
I
skit
first watched...
of them talking about sweets. Yes, that is the opening scene.
Yeah, that was when I dropped the show. Like I watched it once.
That seems
and,
hilarious.
I was like, what the fuck is this? And I turned it off after like.
I did.
5
I
minutes
actually.
into that conversation
did.
because I'm like, what is this tomfoolery?
I did when I had seen 15 shows, but watching that scene now, it's like the funniest scene ever.
How did you get through that then? Because I dropped it. I dropped Lucky Star for this exact same reason.
Why? What is wrong with you?
Well,
Because it's not interesting. It's not
in my
funny.
defense, the first time...
It's neither funny. It's neither is it interesting. Sorry.
Yeah, in
Speedy,
my
go on.
defense, the first time I watched it I was probably 16 or 17. And now that I'm watching the second and the third episode of Lucky Star, I'm liking it a lot. It's not because it's skits, like what we last talked about in the previous one, Nichijou, but rather than with Nichijou, Lucky Star moves on from its skits really quickly. So if you don't like one, there will always be the next one within a few minutes or seconds. So you don't linger, and that's how they balance it out. And generally, the writing is pretty nice. It's chill. You can just relax with it, and not have to bother too much with trying to get engaged. No, that's
The reason I like Lucky Star so much is because the show isn't just jokes, right? It will have really powerful emotional moments, just like slotted in between a whole bunch of skits, and they are some of the most human interactions that you could imagine. My favorite scene is in episode 6. They had been at the beach all day, and then the twins are in the bath, and they're talking about how much periods suck, and they're just one of them's like, oh, I'm glad it didn't happen today or whatever because they were at the beach, and then the other twin was like, oh yeah, that really fucking sucks. And then they talk about why it sucks for a minute, and then they just stare blankly, facing away from each other for like a small period, for like 5 seconds maybe, and then what's the blue head name, the hyper one?
Kozumi Inata? I don't know exactly.
Well, the main character.
Yeah, the main character.
And then the main character runs in, screaming her head off as she always is, and then the show's right back into jokes. And it's like that is real. That is really powerful. And
I'd have to see it to be able to understand that, because it sounds like. Yeah, I'll have to see it.
Yeah, it's oh my god, it's so good.
We're looking at this from a woman's perspective. It's not like from the way you describe it. I haven't watched it, but just from your description, I'm like, what's so powerful about it? That's like our everyday
true.
life.
What is so powerful?
Because I watch like every cute girl show, and they never do that. Like
breaking the taboo.
That's probably another reason.
I mean, it's nice that they talk about periods, but like again, like to me
a
as a
cute
woman,
girl
it's like
show,
yeah, like we talk about our periods. It's a thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's good. Like that is a human thing to do, right? That is a human conversation to have. But cute girl shows never do them because it's like we need to have our pure little funny show, and they aren't.
Well, because most
they don't
women,
have
like,
human
for
functions.
Us women, that's such a because for us women, that's like such a normal thing. Like we don't really care.
Well, these characters
care,
are
but,
like
it's not worth being highlighted to us because it's such a normal thing.
So I reckon you also like that Tell Me Garko-chan?
Yeah, but that showed the whole point is that, so it's not as good. But I do like that show. It's more powerful in something that you wouldn't think it would be there for.
Yeah, it's not always in Garko-chan. It's always the.
Because like the other time I guess that's a spoiler. Do I want to tell? No, I guess I won't say that. That's fine.
There's spoilers in.
Yeah, just watch it.
I will.
Well, it's like the scene's just
it.
really good, so I don't want to like ruin it.
I'm not gonna watch it.
I'm glad I'm watching it again because it has such a cult status in the anime community. Back when it came out, or at least back when I got into the anime community, small, like half the people had at a Konata Izumi avatar. Because she is, I feel like she related to so many.
An annoying prick.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, she related to so many gamers who was like, oh, this girl is just like me, except it's a girl, but she also plays games and she also doesn't do her homework except for the last moment, and she manages to.
But she is. Yeah, she's very capable, but she doesn't try.
Yes,
that's important.
That's like the ultimate dream of a teen nerd, to be able to dive straight into your hobbies. And then just not have to try to fulfill your own obligations. It's perfect. So that's why I think that Izumi is used to be such a popular character. And I think she's.
I'm probably still not gonna watch it. At least not anytime soon.
That's fine.
Yeah, you can miss out. That's fine.
You can miss out on the best anime
to
ever.
be fair.
Well, I wouldn't say. Maybe I wouldn't say that.
To be fair, it's like. Here's the thing: is like cute girl show for me are like a really, really, really hard sell. Like I couldn't even finish what's it called? Speedy, the one that you love
Place
so
Further
much.
In the Universe. But that's more than just.
That's because that's not very good. But it's okay. It's like a 7 out of 10. It's alright.
But what bothered me wasn't even like the plot lines or anything. It was the animation, the acting, the voice acting, everything around the girls. I hate it. I hate this entire the moification of everything. I despise it so much. It just turns me off.
Yeah, like I remember watching it, and the Speedy, the one who's a bit older and she's like a little bit chubby and she works. Yeah. I remember thinking about that character and being like, this character has all the traits of a character I'd really, really like. But I just don't like her. Like, why do I not like her? Like, she's a bit nihilistic, which is pretty good. Her sense of humor is like really sarcastic, so I like it. She's not too hyperactive, but she's not like super boring. Why do I not like it?
Have you ever figured it out, or is that still a mystery?
I think I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just they didn't like. I don't know.
God, I love
really
that
weird.
show so
I
much.
mean, I didn't even like K-On!
Okay, but Kaon's like fucking good though.
I need to.
No, but I don't like it.
It's good. Kaon's good
I
for the same
really
reason.
do not
I
like
like
it.
Lucky Star. Well, it's good for the human moments.
What human moments? None of these women, ladies,
They all sit in a bar.
girls, whatever,
that's
They
what-
all
act,
sit in a
that's
bar and
what-
talk about
act
periods.
anything human.
No, they don't. They don't. Unfortunately.
None of them act human. None of them think human, and none of them move human. It's the worst. Like, to me personally, that is the worst that anime has to offer. Is how, it's the peak of animal, what Speedy was to say, animal cannibalism. It's people who looked at cute girls, growing up, being like, I want to animate cute girls like that, without ever, really caring for the real life around them. And something like K-On! Is the result of that. And it disgusts me.
Damn.
That's why I like Kaon. It's so not realistic, but you still care. You still care about what
No.
they're doing. It's crazy.
No, I don't.
It's like-
that was the problem.
no,
I do
well,
not. I really do
I
not.
don't. Well,
I did. I came to the point where I wanted to punch each and every single one of them in the face repeatedly, and then take their heads and slam them against the wall. That's what I wanted to do.
all
with
of their
these
movements
characters.
are way too exaggerated. They all scream all the time. You should hate them. But you watch
Oh,
the
that
show
was
and
the
you're like,
worst.
Oh, and you just wish that you wish them the world all
That
the
you
time.
could murder them
Well, no, not quite. I wouldn't
you
say
could
that.
murder them?
I wouldn't say that.
in the most horrid way possible.
If they're cute and they're written in a way that is cute, you want to protect them.
No, I want to murder them.
Ugh, you're no fun.
The more they
You're
are
no
cutified, the more they are morphified, the more I want to slam their head against the wall somewhere, or better yet, against a pole, or something that will impale them.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with making things cute? What's wrong with that?
The fact that it's not cute. It's
That
oh god, it's degeneracy.
is subjective. What is cute?
It's degeneracy.
Yeah, and what is
Wait.
even
What's
if
wrong
it's
with being? Why can't you be too cute? I'm confused.
It's not about being too cute. It's about the way that they are written and acted. It's not cute. It's obvious. It's so obvious that it is made for a specific type of male who want to enjoy everything female without the things that they do not like about females. It's the worst part of sexism. It's so ridiculously sexist in so many ways, especially in the Japanese way. So if everything has to be kawaii and pure, and oh god, it makes me so angry.
Well, imagine there was a scene where they broke the taboo and they had a real conversation about a human function that women have. That'd be crazy. Oh wait, there is. It's called Lucky Star. And it's on episode 6.
Except that none of the girls are likable in Lucky Star.
I don't know about that.
You only watched one episode though.
The one with glasses.
No,
I don't.
that's fair.
The one with glasses I don't like that much, but the other ones are pretty great.
I can't talk for K-On! Because I haven't watched it. But what's wrong with I mean, is there something wrong with catering to a certain audience? Doesn't everything cater to a certain audience?
True.
Is not catering to an audience the only way to make pure and good
No product
medium
doesn't. Okay, doesn't work.
media? You create
It's not
something
about catering
to
to
be
the certain.
consumed by someone, and there is a grade, of course.
I never said there's something wrong with it. I just said it disgusts me.
I mean,
And it does. It absolutely disgusts me.
that's on you. But is catering to a male audience automatically sexist? No, I mean that's also not what you said. I suppose.
I did not
When
say
did-
that.
wait,
No.
No, you didn't.
Wait. Okay. Other
didn't.
than the teacher in Kaon, when did they do that? Because the teacher in Kaon, like even Kaon fans will agree that teacher in Kaon is the problem with the show, and in season 2 they kind of stopped doing it because they kind of figure it out. But other than the teacher making them wear maid outfits and stuff, what is the problem?
The problem is everything about those girls. The girls are so idolized and like put on such a pedestal and like created in a they're created in that way. Like, I don't know how much you know about Japanese idol culture, but they're created in that way how a certain type of audience wants to think of idols, like putting them on that larger than life, bigger than life pedestal, and having all of the good parts without anything actual human about them. That's the problem here. They are cute, they are innocent, they are they have none of the icky parts. So if they do have them, it's still shown in a cute way. It's so stupidly fetishized. The cuteness and innocence and naivete. It almost like goes into.
Do you not think?
Almost goes into pedophilia.
Do you not think it would be a good way to normalize something if you make even the bad parts cute? Because then if you associate like periods with like a cute thing, then you might not be so grossed out about it. Do you not think that might be
Except
reasonable?
that it backfires because more and more people, especially in Japan, who are so into the 2D thing, don't want to have anything with 3D girls because 3D girls disgust them. I wonder where that comes from.
Is that such a big... Isn't that just a fringe... Isn't that just fringe culture? I'm pretty sure that's not as big of a thing in Japan. It's fringe culture, sure. There's people like that. And it's usually played up in anime that there's like nerds who think like that for laughs more than anything.
Yeah. And what would be the solution? Just like not making cute girl shows?
The solution for that, Pory, is to get your references and your character studies and your writing studies, all of that, get all of the info that you put into a show out of real life rather than from other anime. And, out of whatever weird ass things that you want to fulfill. You're fulfilling your own headcanons or whatever. Which, again, nothing wrong with that, but if you do that, get your information out of it, get the research that you do for it, get that out of real life.
So what you're saying is, this actually loops back to what we talked about last time. You're saying learn to write a real human before you manage to write anything else.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the characters, like, take Miyazaki, for example, like, My Neighbor Totoro. The two girls are, like, ridiculously cute, and I love them to death because with how cute they are, but they're also very down-to-earth and very real and very human, and it's very obvious in the writing that, Miyazaki or whoever was on there writing it, animating it, understands, what humans are like and what makes a real human cute rather than, a 2D caricature cute. There's an innate understanding in there that is kind of lacking in shows such as K-On!
What makes a real human cute? That's so subjective. He has one way of showing how someone is cute, and
no, he has plenty of ways of showing that. In every single of his female leads is cute and beautiful and wonderful in a different way.
I did not see that.
It comes to show how well he understands people.
I saw Hayao Miyazaki's My Neighbor's Totoro. There were nice designs, but his style doesn't really lend to cuteness, in my opinion. And I've seen way more cute things in other anime compared to Hayao Miyazaki stuff.
I find very little that is cuter than the two girls from Totoro. Just because, exactly that, because there is an understanding of, real humanity in there, and not just a 2D character, or 2D caricature pandering to, a certain type of horny audience.
Okay, but isn't Hayao Miyazaki pandering...
I think you're being really... I don't think that K-On! is trying to sex appeal.
I also think that's way over the top. Maybe no, I'm not even going to go there. No, I don't think that's true.
Yes.
No. Moa culture is not solely catering to horny teens.
But that's the problem. It's not catering to horny teens, it's catering to horny grown-ups. That's the problem here.
It's not catering to horny at all. It's catering to people that want to see cute shit.
No, it's catering to horny because cute is what makes them go off. That's my problem here, is, the entire cutesification of everything. Anything that is, like, above a certain type of adult or of grown-up or of, mature is no longer attractive because it's not cute enough. And that is so prevalent throughout all of Japanese culture, especially if you watch like the AKB48 videos. You know how they act, how that reflects in anime, how the cultures keep reverbing off one another, bouncing off one another. It is so sickening.
I completely disagree.
I do agree that I hate idols, but the reason that I hate idols is because they act as if these are real people. They're trying to sell you like real people that are fake. Shows aren't doing that.
I mean, that's kind of what they're doing.
I don't think so. And I don't think
You literally
people
just said the reason you like Lucky Star is because they're real.
Yes, no,
You know,
it's
because
not.
they feel real.
It's yeah, exactly. They feel real when you know that it's completely alien to reality. They're able to make a feeling that you have as a human being, and they put it into something that isn't human, and they make the same emotion, and that's why it's good. Because it's like that. It's like you. Yeah, can I explain better than that? Probably not.
A character doesn't need to resemble a human, even if they look like human. They're called a human to give them a humanizing moment, a moment that shows their character and that shows that what they are portrayed to be, that they are.
But there needs to be an understanding of humanity in that, and most Moa shows just do not have that. Most cute girls.
I agree with that. I agree with the bad. I would agree that like bad ones don't, but
even the good ones,
No,
because K-On!
that's-
Certainly didn't.
I don't think so.
No, it didn't.
Could I think of a scene that would disprove you?
You can show me. I've seen the entire show.
Oh, you
both
have?
seasons.
Both seasons. Wow.
Yes.
And she hated all of it.
Just because of the impact that it had, I forced myself to sit through it, and I hated every single goddamn episode of it.
Damn. At least that's how do you call that? Sitting through something you don't like.
Sunk cost fallacy? No.
No, it's not resilient.
It's not.
Masochism.
Masochism is a good one.
No. Let's keep it at masochism. Yes, masochism. Oh man, we went off on a tangent. We only discussed what I've been watching. Oh man, we're more than a half an hour in. Okay.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens. That's just the nature of this podcast. So let's leave Lucky Star right there. We'll get back to that eventually when I've watched more of it and we record more of these episodes. We'll maybe even come back to the topic as a main topic someday.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, we actually have a list of topics, and I think something like that is closely resembling what we just talked about. Anyway, Sheila, have you been watching anything?
I watched Shield Hero.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Tell me, was there anything about the show that was good beside the soundtrack?
The soundtrack was good. I didn't even notice.
I mean, it's Kevin Penkin.
Yeah. I think people hype up Kevin Penkin too much, to be honest. Like, Made in Abyss soundtrack is fucking sick. I don't think you can. I don't think you can say that anything else is close to Made in Abyss's soundtrack.
Well, here's like one thing that started very early on was as I went through this, I realized that this looked like, or like had the feeling that, you know, whoever wrote this watched SAO and was like,
what would you say that?
You know what, these no, but hear me out. Like these points are like really bad. I'm gonna write my own thing and make it better, right? And then he went and made all of these points better, but all of the points that, you know, he did not point out that weren't like completely awful in SAO, he completely and utterly botched. That's kind of what the show feels like.
I remember reading. I think I remember reading the manga way back. I think it was just getting released. I think it's based on a light novel, but I read the manga and just the first few pages turned me off right away. Did we discuss this already on the podcast? I remember talking.
Just a little bit, yeah. Pory mentioned it, but it was like
episode.
only. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, here's the fun thing. So I actually had fun watching it, not because the show was good, because like it's god awful, but because like the problems that it has and the mistakes that it does are so fundamental that usually when you watch a show, after you watch like an episode or like however much you watch and you take a break and you do something else, you go to sleep, or you have real life coming up, and that's when you start thinking about it, and it's like, oh, this part was good, this part was bad, and so on and so forth, right? The flaws and problems with this movie, with this anime, but also the good parts about this anime were so obvious and so blatant that I was running through that thought process in my head while actually watching it. And that was highly entertaining.
Like you can just see the flaws just popping out right as you watch them.
Yep.
Like what gave you the
So I was analyzing it as I watched it, and that was first of all, that made me feel like really badass because, two things at once. Haha. And again, second of all, I don't know. I just like thinking. I like using my head. I think we established it in the first episode.
What made you realize when you were watching this that it was like, oh no, this is bad? Did you have such a moment?
That actually did not take very long. Because here's the thing, and how much do you guys know about Chekhov's gun?
Oh man, I know the term. Is it something about smoke? No, it's not, right? I know the term.
No.
I know the term. So, go ahead, explain.
Okay, so Chekhov's gun is basically like the example used for setup and payoff. It's like if you write a book and you Chekhov was the one who wrote that rule, or like who put that rule into writing for the first time. You write a book and you mention in a scene that there is a gun on the table, right? So that in a later scene,
right.
like you cannot just mention that gun for no reason. So in a later scene, you need to go use it. You need someone to use that gun on the table, right? Because you said that it's there. That's a setup and payoff thing. You set up that there is a gun on the table, and then you get the fulfillment out of it by having somebody use that gun on the table. And I noticed very early on that the guns were everywhere. From, when he was still in the real world, he's like, okay, so this is my life, like, I saved my little brother once, I get, like, funds from the, from the government, I have, like, this really nice house, and I'm like, this sounds really interesting, I wonder what all of this, like, well, what is all of this, what's the story here, right? And then it goes, and then he's just narrating it off at such a, like, ridiculous speed that I'm like, okay, like, this is, like, really clumsily made, but, I'm interested to see what all of these plot points are about, and then he goes into the isekai world, like, 5 minutes in, and all of these plot points are dropped, and I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be bad, isn't it?
Wasn't that just meant to set him up as, like, being a good guy?
Well, yes, but there are other ways to do it. I mean, Slime Isekai did that really well, by actually having the guy, throw himself in front of his kohai, protecting him. And also, just having this inner monologue to himself about, like him being salty about being a virgin. But hey, it doesn't matter because his kohai found somebody, so he should be happy for him. That's how you do a setup of being a good guy. Not somebody rattling off, hey, I saved my brother and I get government funds and I live in this really nice house. And I like, and I game all day or whatnot. Doing that, narrating things like that just sets up plot points. That doesn't establish anything. It just makes you question what's the story here, how is this going to play into the story? And then it doesn't. It's completely irrelevant. None of it matters at all.
Does it also have the opposite? Does it have the thing where the gun isn't introduced, but the gun does go off in a later scene?
All the time. Oh, constantly. Not even in later scenes. Even in the first episode already.
I hate that.
It does that.
So much.
It just keeps pulling shit out of its ass. It's hilarious. Like there is so much setup without payoff, so much payoff without setup. Like in which case you don't have any payoff, right? But like an attempted payoff without setup, and then everything is so all over the place. Like I don't know how much I want to go into spoilers. How much do you want me to go into spoilers?
I don't. I will probably watch it eventually. You can talk about the first few episodes. Cause I remember when it aired, it was a little controversial. Goblin Slayer had aired not too long before that, so everyone was still a little bit shaken from the whole the rape scene in Goblin Slayer, and then comes the fake accusation of a rape in this anime, and that just blew up. everywhere. So I know
Right.
that. And then there's the girl that's probably a slave, but he saved, and now she's just following him. That's about
Still his slave.
Oh, still
She
her.
stays his slave throughout the entire thing. Which is, like, even worse, because, like, you know, she's obviously best girl, and I love her a lot. And there's this one scene fairly early on where she gets freed, but she's like, no, I want to stay his slave. Which is the worst connotation ever, because it's like, you know, you have this girl who is already completely devoted to you, and she's, you know, she's strong, she protects you, she has, like, a really good personality, but she is so devoted to you that she literally becomes your slave even once she has the choice. Instead of just saying, hey, let's stand as equal, she puts the slave seal back on herself so that in case she ever rebels, you know, the main character, what was his name? Ifumi? Iwa Ifumi?
Yeah. Something like that.
Help me out, Pory.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, so that main character dude, you know, in case she does ever rebel, can, you know, still order her and command her to do something, which is, oh god, that disgusted me so much, which is really sad, because Raccoon Girl was, like, the only saving grace about the entire
Now
goddamn
for
show.
me.
That's not true, but, like, now for me, thank
Yeah.
you. Not the only saving grace, but, like, the one big saving grace, let's put it that way.
Could the guy not have just said, "Okay, I command you to break your chains"? Did he dislike having a slave? What?
No, absolutely not. He was completely shattered when her slave seal was removed forcefully, because, you know, well, to be fair, with everything that happened to him, you can't really blame him for thinking that she's going to leave him, right?
Yeah.
And then when she decides to get her slave seal back on, he's, like, overjoyed. There is absolutely no, like, rebellion on his end, or not even, like, a shout out of, I want you to have your free will, especially around, you know, this girl who is obviously best girl, because that's another big problem I had with the show, but who is obviously best girl, you know. So much so that even I want her. I mean, what do I say even? I'm bisexual. I want all the girls. Give me all the girls. But yeah, like, you know, willingly enslaving himself to him, like, the connotations of that are just gross.
Yeah, I feel like if you're not going in your show with a slavery is bad and we definitely don't want it, if you're gonna have to deviate from that for historical reasons or because it's a fantasy world, you're gonna have to handle it subtly and with care. And from what I hear, that didn't happen.
No.
Very unfortunate.
One, like, so the payoff instead of thing, as an example, you know, one of the first things that I've always wondered is, because, like, even before, you know, the fake rape accusation, now for me is being, like, mistreated, not just by the king and his daughter, but by everyone, just for being the shield hero, right? Because apparently there's, like, I didn't know why, and that was, like, the first thing for the first, what was it, half, I think, of the show. I was just wondering myself, why the fuck does everybody hate the fucking shield hero? Where's the story here, you know? And nobody even brings it up once. Now, Naofumi himself doesn't even question once what's up with, you know, like, the stigma around the shield hero. He just, you know, he is salty because it's, like, I'm being mistreated because I'm the shield hero, right? But he never even, like, begs to question, why is the shield hero being mistreated? You know? And that goes for the first half of the show. And then the resolutions that they bring up, you know, barely anything. Like, I feel like all of the reasons, all of the, you know, the behind the scenes reason of his treatment in the beginning of the show, needed some kind of just something in the very beginning to show, you know, what direction is this going, where is this going, what is happening. Because as it is, it kind of just feels like it comes out of nowhere. And in the few cases where there is setup, the setup is so poorly done where I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't even make sense. And that is basically the entire show.
It was probably just because it was an isekai, do you think?
Actually, I think it's popular because, first of all, Raccoon Girl is adorable. I love her. I love her to death. And I think the reason it is popular is because, like, Naofumi isn't entirely, like, he how do I put this?
Is he the Ichigo
Like,
of isekai?
no, he's not. So his turn into, you know, the current from the naive, lucky-go-lucky kid that he was in the beginning, you know, that kind of, like, silently judges all of his, you know, all of his teammates, into the bitter, outcast that he is, wasn't handled that well. It's like he makes a complete 180 with his character. Like, it's understandable, it's just not pulled off very well. But everything from that point on, all of the characters, except for the other 3 heroes, they're the exception, but all of the characters and their personalities are very consistent and actually, like, really well written.
Okay. That's
the plot is absolutely awful and all over the place, but the characters and personalizations are solid. Not stellar, but solid. And that is something that you don't see in isekai very much. Which is why I said that, Sword Art Online, it does everything well that Sword Art Online failed at, and absolutely fails at everything that Sword Art Online did well. Because Sword Art Online actually has a much more cohesive, well thought out, well created plot in comparison to Shield Hero.
Is that something you can agree on, Pory?
I dropped it after 15 minutes.
Oh, no. Sorry, I thought you'd watched more.
For reasons that are understandable. And I remember why, Pory, you told us that it was because, like, nobody ever questions anything or even, thinks about, like...
Yeah, they get teleported and then they're just like, oh, remotely. Fucking hell, so dumb. Oh,
yeah, but here's the thing. That didn't actually bother me because, chances are that just like Naofumi, they all knew, the concept of an isekai and was like, hey, cool, we're in an isekai, right? But then I'm like... Okay, but all of the questions that they asked, like, none of the questions that they asked or statements that they made any sense whatsoever. Even if they were cool with the idea of being isekai and, becoming the protagonist, they would be like, the first question they should be asking is, what's the situation? But they don't even do that. No. They're just like, what's our reward? Our reward for what exactly? What are we supposed to do? What's going on here? Can somebody explain this world to us?
I wouldn't even...
Give me a teacher.
Even if they had done that, I wouldn't have given them, like, any credit for it. Because, that is a pretty standard, meta isekai joke. So that they can, like, skip, 2 books of narration or whatever. Just to say, oh, it's an isekai, okay, let's fucking kill the demon. So if they had said that, it would be like, oh, good observation, really, really smart.
It's like, oh, look at us being self-aware of how bad we've written this.
But it would have been better than what we got. But then what happens instead is, they're being pulled into this world and the priests are like, we summoned you because, like, you are our heroes and we need you to fight an evil for us. Like, they don't even specify what it is. They just say, we need you to fight for our country, and the first thing that they ask is what's going to be our reward. I'm like,
honestly,
why is this the first thing that you're asking?
That's actually... pretty respectable. I kind of respect that question.
What makes you think I want to fight for you?
Oh yeah, exactly. Like, what makes you even think I want to fight for you? That's another thing that they ask, which is a fair question, but like, there should be
a moment of shock. Yeah, there needs to be some amount of shock that you have, like, fucking got,
It's like these people
not even
sitting...
that. Like, I don't imagine even that much, but just start off with something like, who are you people? Where are we? Like, it's even just the question of, is this another world, right? That alone would have already been enough. Have we been summoned to another world? Just to clarify that. That is something that they could have done.
I feel like...
But no, they don't even have that much.
I feel like they're just sitting at their school desks, those kids, and they're just looking at their watch, like, any moment now. It's very lazy. It's
not lazy. It's not just lazy. It's incompetent. It's incompetency. It's somebody who doesn't understand. Like, last time we had it all about understanding, about maturity, and that is a very, very strong indicator of immaturity in writing when you don't even understand a concept as essential to every story around the world throughout history as Chekhov's gun.
Mm-hmm.
Set up and
Setting
payoff.
Things. Yeah, set up and payoff.
That's the vibe I got from it in general. It was very, very immature, in and out, immature and incompetent. But it was so much fun watching it though. I mean, I would not watch it a second time to save my life. Like, if you threatened me with a gun and said you die or you watch Shield Hero again, I'd rather die. But the first watch was...
Then you might get reincarnated in a fucking bad isekai.
Exactly. But yeah, that's all that I watched.
Alright, okay. I was going to talk about Honey and Clover, but I can sum up my opinion on it in like 3 seconds. So, basically, Sangatsu, who the author also wrote, have a lot of things in common. But everything that's wrong with Honey and Clover, so it tries to be way too funny in scenes that need to be dramatic.
Right.
Way too much of the romance, way too much of the drama is based on romance, and the main character is like a cardboard cutout who just like cries all day. Those three things are solved for Sangatsu, and then Sangatsu is the greatest show ever. So I'm gonna keep killing shows. I'm gonna talk about Talentless Nana, which is airing right now. And you being pissed off at this show for like for the whole slavery thing and stuff, maybe remember how angry I am at this show because I'm convinced it's about it's like anti-Semitic propaganda.
What?
I believe
or
that.
Wow.
at the very least, and I'm being very generous, the same line of thinking that gets you to being an anti-Semite is the same line of thinking that you would need to write this show. So
I mean, that line of thinking is very prominent in Japan. So there's that.
in this show, it's about there are talented and talentless. Talented are basically X-Men, and the ratio is about the same as X-Men. And the talentless have realized that if the talented wanted to take over the world, they could. So the only solution is to murder them in cold blood completely. And you can't try to negotiate with them because any power that you give them, they're going to abuse and only use for their own good. They aren't going to try and cooperate at all. And they also made the observation that every war in human history is caused by the talented. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Anti-Semites say the exact same thing about all of those about Jews. So I'm like, you can't, this is a bit, it's a bit much.
I also don't believe that such a thing would ever happen. Like, if tomorrow there were 0.1% of the population of the Earth got some kind of superpowers, I'm pretty sure the government would be pretty quick to enlist those people to work for them, or corporate would try to figure out how to use that to further their business. I don't think they would be shunned.
In this backstory scene, that the government, okay, this is also really fucking stupid. So, the government basically gives this speech to this assassin, and saying and they explain why this is a problem, and then she goes, "All right, I'm gonna go kill them all."
Why is it a problem?
Because I mean they're gonna start war, Speedy, and they're gonna fucking murder all of us and take over the world. Obviously.
That's
Okay, but in this show, don't tell verse. Are the kids or the people that she kills, are they actually a problem?
Well,
Or are they likable and wantable
so
and redeemable?
the show also wants to be saying why shonen sucks. So all of the kids that are talented are shonen tropes. So the guy she kills in episode 1 is Deku, and whatever.
But Deku is a sunshine child.
Yeah.
Who would ever want to hurt Deku?
Wait, what is the main character?
No.
The assassin?
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
The assassin is the main character.
Yeah, and we watch her go around
Yep.
and kill children in cold blood.
Because
Really,
they have-
very likable. Obviously, you love that girl watching her kill children all day.
Wait, how? I figured maybe they'd be able to do this from the talentless. No, the talented.
No, so
side,
episode
but-
one, this is a little bit smart. I will give them that. Episode 1, you think it's bad My Hero,
Mhm.
because the guy she kills is the main character for the whole episode, and
Oh.
then she throws him off a cliff. Right, pretty clever. I'll give him that. After that, it's all of the anything interesting is completely gone, and it's just actually fucking disgusting.
How do you build a whole show on that premise?
Because so
On
I thought
having-
what I thought was
on-
going to
on-
happen. What I
Yes.
thought was going to happen in that same episode 3, at the end of the episode, she's like, "I'm just killing people. This is a bit messed up." She has that thought maybe once again, but at no point does her behavior change. And there's even a point where she's there's a girl who heals people by licking them.
Right, and she gets killed.
No, she's alive. She probably dies eventually. And the girl, the assassin girl, is oh, I could kill her right now, but I kind of like her. And she doesn't think, oh, I'm doing something wrong. I'm killing people who are good. Doesn't have that, doesn't So I thought the show was going to be
there's
her.
there's nothing inherently wrong with following the antagonist.
True, but it depends on how
the
actions
show.
are
She is
portrayed
not
in the show.
she is not the antagonist. She is like this, like righteous. She's bringing justice to the world, or something. I don't really understand. How?
Okay, but in the show itself,
we are
like,
meant
about...
to be supporting her.
Okay, so the show is actually framed in a way that she is the hero, meaning that the kids all do like bad things.
Not really. They're just dumb, because because the other thing, the show's trying to make fun of shonen, so all the kids are fucking morons, because only idiots like shonen. What fucking
Okay, my question is are the kids framed to be deserving of those deaths?
No, they're just like teenagers.
Right. So then we're not supposed to triumph whenever she kills somebody. So then she's the antagonist.
Yes. But we're
It's
supposed
just that we follow
to
her.
think she's doing something good.
Okay, but why? What about the show
Because the
except
show,
for the tell
yeah,
part?
that's
like,
it.
What about the show shows you?
That's it.
No. Not the tell part.
That's
Not the
it.
tell part. What about the show shows you with visuals, with framing, with suggestion
Well, there is
that she is the
there's,
good guy?
There is one girl who like, I mean, there are characters who are like not like healthy. Like, there's a girl who's like lost her mind, and she controls dead people. And she like.
I mean, that's kind of metal, but yeah.
And she just like talks to dead people all day. Oh, but she did kill her. Oh no, so yeah, I guess we're not supposed to let this go, but she's just like not mentally healthy. She's not like bad. She just she kills the guy she likes because he rejects him, and then she like has sex with the corpse that she uses necromancy on.
Oh.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. I have a feeling I'm gonna like this show. I should watch it.
But she's just like no, you won't, because she's supposed to be crazy, but she has like the classic, her eyes get really big and her pupils get really small, and she cackles. You know what I'm talking about? The edgy.
Yeah,
like,
I love that.
No, that's fucking cringe.
It's so stupidly. Yeah, it is cringe. It's stupid. It's cringe, but like it's so over the top, and it's like it leans so much into their tropes and really doesn't give a shit anymore that I can't help but to like it.
I can't stand it.
Also, I just really like like crazy ass bitches, and gore and horror and all that stuff.
All right,
and that's totally my game.
I hate to tell you, she dies on the episode she's in, so I'm sorry.
Okay, but does she die in like a cool way, or does she die in
no,
like, in a silly over the top way?
Fuck. Let me see if I can remember this.
Like the first death in what's that the really famous horror anime called with the girl with the eye patch?
Another?
Yeah, like the first death in Another. That one was so silly. Like when I first watched it, I actually like burst out laughing when that girl died. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, no, I remember the assassin girl.
Exactly,
Oh yeah, the assassin girl's about to die because she can't fight an army of corpses, obviously, because because the talented are all the threats.
Oh, so she doesn't control
obviously.
ghosts; she controls corpses. That's a difference there. She's a necromancer.
Yeah. And she's about to die, and then she goes, she does the whole like, she says some bullshit about, you're crazy, you're having sex with a corpse, you're the evil one. And then she reveals that, that's why she does like a Sherlock Holmes thing, where she figures out that like she killed the guy she has sex with, based on like no, like the classic, there's no evidence, but she figures it out.
The Detective Conan way of just magically being able to figure everything out from clues that were all there all along, but it's so ambiguous that it could have been anything.
Yeah, the show does that a few times actually. Oh, there's another one. This scene's actually really funny for how dumb it is. So there's a guy who's on Mortal, and he's like really smart, and he's figuring out that this girl is like killing all of their kids. And so he tries to trap her in the act, and he does it by she's using like one of the other kids' phones to like orchestrate their movements. And so he gets her into a position where if he finds her with the phone, it proves that she was killing everybody.
Right.
Because she needed to be sending texts all day, so she needed to have the phone on her. So, but she figures out that he's going to try and do this. What the fuck? So what she does is she puts the phone underneath one of the rotting corpses because the necromancer isn't alive anymore to like preserve the corpses. So the corpses are rotting, and they put the phone underneath it so that the corpse will rot right at noon where the sun's in the middle of the sky. So the corpse will melt just enough to move, to touch the phone, to send a text at noon because the sun's there. So that when the guy trapped...
That's not how corpses work.
When the corpse actually melts like ice cream. So when the guy traps her, she doesn't have the phone because the corpse has the phone because it's better.
That is the absolute dumbest shit I've ever.
Oh, I need to watch this.
I need to as well.
Very funny.
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. Like, I have a feeling I would enjoy this in the same way that I enjoy the Shield Hero, just shitting on the show as I watch it in my mind.
Oh god.
Yeah, but the show really annoys me because everyone's praising it. It's like, oh my god, look at it. It's making fun of Shonen. It's so smart. Oh my god. It says that if you're...
Nana.
It says that if your character is like, super shy but OP, it's not good. It's so smart, but it's actually just like Nazi propaganda. Like can you not? Can you like?
The one with the pink-haired girl, and then there's two guys.
Yep, that's it.
And
pink-haired girl, that's talentless Nana.
And all the other characters look crazy, so they're supposed to be the bad guys.
Well, no, like most of the kids are just like actual teenagers. Like they're just teenagers, but they can like shoot fire. That's it.
And they're all crazy.
No, they're not. No, most of them aren't. Most of them are just like kids at school, but can shoot fire. That's it. That if you think you'd have to think that you have to kill teenagers to think that this show is like.
That's actually.
Good.
I actually find that really interesting. Like, I have a feeling, again, I haven't watched it, so I can't judge, but just going by what you tell me, I have a feeling that that's something that's done deliberately, that the show tells you one thing, like in wording, but shows you a different thing, and, and that way, because visual information to us is so much stronger than auditory information, despite the fact that, everybody around Nana still frames her as the hero, the show itself, with the visual cues, frames her as the villain.
It would be so easy for the show to turn around and Nana to have a revelation and that she needs to not do this. It would be so easy. And every episode there's they're gonna do it right now, and they don't do it. It would be so easy.
No, that's not what I meant.
They're waiting to do this at the very end.
I don't think
make it better.
Well, I'm pretty sure the manga's still going, and I'm pretty sure they haven't done it. So I'm gonna say that I don't know to do that. You mean the kids are gonna rise up against her?
I would.
No.
Yeah, I would like it more. Yeah, I would like it more. Something like that, I would like much more.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing that.
If the kids were to rise up against her, if it turns out that this entire time we've been following the bad guy, we've been following the antagonist, and the kids are actually the good people. I would like that much more. And, Nana herself going from somebody who may be capable of a redemption to, just basically becoming completely and utterly irredeemable as she falls deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. And, does not question what happens and is instead, just content with the status quo and just does as people tell her to do. And so, that would basically be a lesson on think for yourself, people. Don't just because somebody higher up tells you that that's what you're supposed to do doesn't mean that's necessarily the right thing to do. That would be actually a really interesting way to take the show, and I kind of hope that's where it goes.
Or for me, what I've immediately thought of was have her gradually realize that what she's doing is absolutely terrible, and that she's now eventually starting to work against the people that employ her to do these things.
If the show did that, I would love it. But
yes,
it will not do it.
So
it will not do it.
That sounds so good.
But that's been done to death.
Yeah, but at least the bar is not high here. If it does that, it would have been.
It's more nuanced than 85% of anime. Well, maybe not that much, but
again, I don't know. Maybe it's mostly a Western media thing. But in Western media, things like that have been done to death. I'm not entirely certain about anime, but I think in anime you have storylines like these as well, quite a bit.
But just because it's done to death doesn't mean it can be still good. If there's.
Well, no, I never said that, but I would prefer the take on slowly but surely coming to show that Nana is and stays the bad person, and she is the one that we're following, and everybody around her says that is good, and all of society thinks that she's good, but just because like, how do I put this? The consensus of society and the consensus of the people in power does not equal, justice. That would be to me personally, that would be a much more interesting take.
How many episodes does it have right now?
It has 12 episodes. It is on episode 9, but the manga is still going, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I'm really interested in how this ends then, and where they take it. But this sounds like a shit fest.
Well, in the last episode, they introduced a character that's actually omnipotent. So I need the show to like wrap it up because there's a character. Yeah, there's basically a character who is omnipotent. So it needs to fucking end. Like
it's like omnipotent in like he's
God
and he knows the morals of the world?
He can copy every single power of people he meets. But
she's still going to be killing him.
I'm guessing so. But the guy could like teleport, time travel. He's immortal. He has like every element. Like, how are you supposed to fucking kill that guy?
Wait, how does she kill people?
Mostly with poison. She like stabs them with little poison needles. Most of the time, yeah.
And she's like really good at figuring people out, apparently.
Yeah,
from what I
she's
hear,
like yeah. She's supposed to be like I think that's the show. People try and make it sound like it's smarter than it is. I think that's the show really just trying to say that shonen tropes suck by making the shonen trope characters like way too predictable, because they are like the tall chubby guy is brutish and low IQ. The blonde guy is attractive and vain. Like, like it's like a 10-year-old is writing it.
Oh man, yeah, no.
And the more you talk, the more I wonder if I'm going to like the show or not. Like some of the things you say sound amazing, others just sound so awful.
It feels like even if this show managed to take it to a good direction, it looks and sounds like the kind of show that wouldn't be able to pull anything off decently. But I'll have to watch it myself to eventually
judge it for ourselves.
decide.
Because to be fair, Speedy, like Pory's judgments aren't always the most reliable.
What are you trying to say?
Neither are yours or mine, so that's a given.
But I think in between, like, the three of us, Pory's are the ones who are least reliable.
What's that supposed to mean?
I've never made
exactly
that
what I
judgment.
said. Exactly what I said.
Yeah, Speed, I need you to make more judgments so you can be more wrong than me, so I'm second place.
Hold on. No. I'm not going for last place. I'm going for first place, if anything.
No. She's seen Legend of the Galactic
In
Heroes,
all honesty,
so,
I think...
That's true. Fuck.
In all honesty, I think between the three of us, like, Speedy's recommendations or Speedy's taste... Recommendations, I would say, are the most reliable out of the three of us, so he has
How come?
first place.
How did we decide that?
She's saying that you have normie taste.
We didn't decide anything. That's how I look at it.
I am a normie. No.
Yeah, I mean that's also what I said. You are a normie.
I am a normie. Well, I have the normie mindset.
What's the normie mindset?
Just I've seen way more anime than a usual normie, but I'm still watching like I am a normie, especially now.
You don't watch. You just watch. You get people to.
I mean, what does a normie even mean? I'm guessing there's like I have a preconception of what a normie is. Without actually being able to...
Everyone less. Everyone with less understanding than you is a normie. That's generally how that term works.
That means that someone else could never be a normie in their own mind, which doesn't really make sense.
Nobody is ever a normie in their own mind.
Yeah. Everyone beneath you is a normie.
Well, do you have anything else to say about other anime this week?
No.
You've been watching
this season sucks. This season sucks.
You've been watching Talentless
But does
Nana
it
only
suck
to
worse
torture
than last
yourself.
season?
Is it better? Wait, is it better or worse?
Is it better or worse than the last
I
season?
couldn't even tell you what shows came out last season. So
Decadence is what.
No,
I
Decadence
remember.
sucks.
That's the big one.
I mean, I'm so fucking.
Re:Zero season 2 came out last season.
That sucks. I couldn't think of a show. I can't fucking think of anything. Like I'm honestly like I'm drawing a blank.
So it's not as bad as last season.
Well, I think if you go next season, you ask me what shows came out, I wouldn't be able to tell you anything.
Why do you still watch seasonals then?
Oh, good transition. All right.
He called it out. I was.
Okay. Why? I don't fucking know. I think I'm trapped. I'm like in a Stockholm syndrome kind of situation. I don't know.
You hate it, but you
I enjoy.
can't help
Okay,
doing it.
I find it really, really fun to watch like 5 minutes of bad shows. That is very fun. That is really, really, really fun. But the problem that it means
I can relate.
because
No,
I
me
don't
neither,
I don't want to
go
drop
ahead.
like 60 shows every 3 months because that's like a bit absurd. So I have to watch some of them. Unfortunately.
Yes.
But and then what happens is because I watch bad anime for so long, when I get around to wanting to watch something good, I'm like conditioned to think anime is bad, so I can't motivate myself to watch anything. And so,
Well, to be fair, anime is bad. There are like a few good ones, but like what 70-80% of it is like bad.
I remember last season I watched Paranoia Agent like a few weeks into the season, and I was watching it and I was like, this show isn't a masterpiece. It's like an 8 out of 10, but anime is so good. Why do I watch seasonals?
So you don't have an answer
I mean,
yourself.
anime can be good, but like the vast majority of it,
Like,
of
if
it is
every-
bad.
if
There's
every
a reason why
season-
I took like a 3-year break.
If every
from it.
season only 5 minutes of the first episode came out and nothing else, it would be amazing. But I have to like
That's not-
I feel like it just feels wrong to drop 50 shows. Like just to go watch one episode of 50 shows and not watch any of them just seems a bit bizarre.
You know, that's like anime is literally the only medium where people would even do that. You know, most people wouldn't even bother trying out every single new show or movie or book or whatever that is
Imagine
coming
doing
out,
that.
and just imagine doing that, or I don't know, like records or whatever other form of entertainment that is. That is something that we only do in anime, or like people. I mean, I say we, but
I
don't do that.
blame my
I don't
I
care.
blame my animalist for saying how many days you have. Because watching the number of days goes up, it's like it really is the fucking dog and it's the meat and you're salivating while you're watching it go up. Like
It feels like an achievement, and you get to
it
push it into
it's
other
like
people's
it's like
faces,
it's
look
like
how
Candy
many
Crush.
things I've
The
watched.
way it
Yeah.
messes up your reward center. You just go, oh my god, I need to watch more shows so my number can go up, my internet points.
You know what they should do? To replace that, they should take the average rating of every single show they've watched and make an average of that, and you can push that into people's faces.
They do that too. My mean is 5.46.
Out of
Blame seasonals. Out of 10.
blame blame season. But that would incentivize watching good shows instead of watching all the shit that comes out
No,
every
I
single
think
season.
I'm mildly conditioned to wanting to get to a perfect 5 so that I can say I have a bell curve of shows. So I can say I have a perfect bell curve.
I don't care enough. Like I mean, I know you're explaining it, but in my head, like I'm not even doing it. I'm literally doing it in my head. I'm going like, I kind of get it, but like it still makes no sense. But I also kind of get it. but
Yeah,
it
it's
still
like
makes no sense,
it's
and it
like
just
trying to
keeps going like that
explain
forever.
why you're addicted to Candy Crush. Like it's irrational. That's the whole point of it. Like it's irrational. It is.
Yeah.
It is irrational. I totally understand.
Because for me it's like, again, I don't bother, like my priority in watching anime is literally, what has the highest rating. And so far there's nothing, like, since I've started doing that has been so bad that I've wanted to drop it. I mean, Shield Hero was that bad, but again, I got enjoyment out of taking it apart and tearing it apart as I was watching it. But aside from Shield Hero, like, there was no anime that was so bad since I started, with going from ratings from up to down, that I'm like, no, this is not worth watching. And all of the anime that have anything less than a 4 out of 5, I don't even bother with.
4 out of 5. I would say 3.5. 3.5 is like something I would consider worth a try if I were to use your system.
Well, yeah, but maybe one day, once I've, gotten through all of the 4 point... I mean, I'm almost through all of the 4.5s. No, I am through all of the 4.5s. So maybe once I've gotten through all of the 4.4s and 4.3s, that's when I'll get to the 3.5.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
that's a
below
viewing habit that
4.
makes sense. Like people do that with movies. They go like, all right, I'm going to watch the top 250 and then I'm going to watch the top 500 and blah blah blah. Like,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that's definitely a more healthy way of watching stuff.
That's what I do when I watch movies too. Like when I watch, when I don't know when I want to watch a movie and I don't know which movie to watch. Like if there's nothing on Netflix that catches my eye, I just go through, like IMDb top 200 movies and I pick one out that I haven't watched. Simple as that.
I don't know why. I can't do that. Like even when, like, if my dad's like, all right, let's go watch a movie, I will not go onto my IMDb and look for a good one. I'll randomize a movie. Like I'll pick a random one. Because I don't know why. I feel like I'm doing something wrong when I pick. I feel like I'm choosing between my children.
But also, you need to understand that I am a film student, so there are movies that for me are important to have watched.
That's true.
So I have like a kind of a list of things that this is something that I should have watched, or at least should have studied, or at least should have watched in my time to widen my understanding of the culture within this industry that I'm in, or get the references, or understand decisions that are made in movies today, where it comes from, like in Citizen Kane. Like Citizen Kane I watched because of that reason exactly. Like it bored me to death. I think it's like one of the most boring movies ever, but it was so worth watching just because so many film techniques have been born out of that movie, and now you understand, that's where the origin is, that's where it comes from, and that's where it has evolved from since. So, for me as a film student, these things are interesting, are important.
I hope you don't hold us to the same standard of choosing what we watch. I mean, I don't really watch movies a lot, but when it comes to anime, mostly I like randomizing it myself. I kind of get why you don't want to
Your method isn't truly random. Stop, grow up, alright?
My method isn't true random, no. Except,
well, mine's not true random either, I suppose.
Yeah, because you still pick after you randomize a year,
and I randomize a season.
And you randomize
after 2005, because before 2005 there isn't that many shows each season, so
Yeah, true. For me, I do have a huge list of everything I want to watch, and every week I come together with a friend and I just pick one anime out of there, and we just watch that. And currently that is Kill la Kill, but we've only watched like 2 episodes, so I'll get to that.
The first time I watched Kill la Kill, I actually dropped it.
Me too. I watched the first episode. I was like, oh my god, so much fan service, so much unnecessary shit.
And even like the second time I watched it, like getting through the first half was an absolute slog. Like I just wanted to not watch it. But I've heard so many good things about, like the villainess when she pops up. So I'm like, I'm gonna get to at least that point, and then I'm a judge. And it was true. Like the second half, once, what was her name? Ragyu?
Yeah,
I think it was.
I don't know.
Yeah. Once she comes in, that's when the show really picks up, and when I really started enjoying it. But the first half, even the second time, I was like, why? I don't want to. Leave me alone. Go away.
Sheila, did you ever watch seasonal? Did you ever try doing the seasonal watching thing?
Yes and no. Like, there are some shows, I remember, what was it? Was it Haikyuu? I think it may have been Haikyuu. Yeah, I think it was... No, wait, season 3 was already out. Season 4 I watched together with Juan. I don't remember which one it was, which show it was, but there were like 2 or 3 shows, when I moved into the place that I am now. So what was it, 2018, 2019, something along those lines, where I tried watching seasonals, but the problem was, it's a bit hard to explain, but once I'm in a story, I want to stay in the story.
Oh yeah, I get that.
And right, so there's that. And there, that's one thing, but then also, the other thing is that, once I'm out of the story, it's time for me to move on, right? Mm-hmm. But it takes a while for me to come down from the story, to like keep letting it go through my head, and then the fact that I don't have all the parts of the story, really, really frustrates me. So to me, watching seasonals as they come out is more frustrating than anything. Like the reward does not equal the frustration, because that same thing of that same frustration of when when a season is over and it ends on a cliffhanger, how people get so frustrated over that and so hyped over that. That is me after every single season, and it just gets so after every single episode, and it just gets so tiring after a while, and I start no longer wanting to invest in that anymore. And then even if it's something that I really really love, like Haikyuu, no matter how much I actually love the show, I'm going to start losing interest, and I'm going to start not wanting to watch it anymore because I have better things to do with my time than spend hours over hours every single week being frustrated. And mulling that over in my head.
I kind of get that as well. I feel like when I want to watch an anime, I want to stay in that headspace of wanting to watch that anime. I know what I'm going to have to deal with. I don't have to wait. And I can just start at episode 1, finish it, and be done with it. Right? Instead of having to each week come back to 5 different shows and get into the headspace of every single different show there. And then do it all over again the next week, and it's such a drag. It takes so much effort to pull myself into doing all of that.
It's not just anime, at least not for me. Like, I've always been that way. Whenever I would start a book, I would not. I remember I told you last time about how my gym teachers would go through confiscate all of my things just so that I wouldn't actually be doing gym with a book in my hands. Because, once I'm in a book, I don't want to let go, Like, you literally have to put it away from me and put it in a locker for me to stop reading something. And it's the same way with everything, whether it's an anime or a movie or a book or... I don't know, I've never, listened to an audiobook, but anything that is, story-related in one way or another is going to be that way for me.
I used to do seasonals. And they kind of... the fun in seasonals is not knowing what you're going to get.
It is a bit of a lucky dip, I agree.
Yeah. And part of the fun of the season is okay, what's this going to be? It could be really bad, it could be really bland, or it could be the one diamond in the rough that you get to find out and almost no one else will watch because only the people that will... most people will just be watching the popular stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't have time for that.
That's the fun. Yeah, that's the fun that I found in there. But at a certain point, the negative parts of doing seasonals just didn't weigh up to the positive parts, and I had to let it go.
I do not have time to waste on anime that I do not like. My life is too busy for that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, that's why I dropped 100 shows. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but my life isn't my life is too busy to even give the headspace or to even give it the first 5 minutes of these 100 shows. It's not worth it. I have better things to do.
I think for most people, including myself a little bit, the reason that you do it is to ego brain everybody else. It's so that you can put the flag in the moon and say, I watched this before you did.
Fuck that. Fuck your ego.
Yeah, true.
True.
And it's and then it's about to say when people are like, "Oh, what's the best show this season?" and they're talk about the 4 popular ones. You can say, "Well, if you scroll down the Mal chart, 30 shows, there's this show that no one watches. It's anime of the season, and you should watch it." Being able to say that, that's just that's the reason.
Empowering. That's the power trip.
Yeah, it's the power trip. Yeah.
But I have noticed that, even the shows that nobody is watching, if they're good, they'll still have a really high rating, so I'm going to be watching them anyways.
Yeah. That happened with Made in Abyss. Made in Abyss was really low down on the chart until week 5 or something. But then it was second. Because everyone who watches all the shows was this is anime of the season. And then, it gradually creeps into everyone's, into everyone's, vision, and then everyone's watching it. And being able to say, I was here first, when that happens, that is, there is no reward greater. But is it worth spending 7 hours every day to watch shows?
No,
Probably
it's
not. Probably not worth it.
And most of the hidden gems, so to speak, in every single season will eventually come to the top anyway. When's the last time that you can remember a show that almost no one liked, but you figured that you knew was really good, that didn't eventually become critically acclaimed in one way or another? Usually, even if it's not a popular show, there will be critics on YouTube talking about it and making essays about it. Eventually, a good show will always... For
Yeah,
example,
I was thinking Sangatsu, which is same.
Girls
thing.
Lost Tour is also I think a
I don't-
show that
That's very cult still. I think that's not very. It's still,
I mean, Gigok talked about it a lot.
he made one video on it.
that's
mean,
more.
but that's
That's
it,
more
that's-
than a
yeah,
lot
but
of
like,
shows
he
get. To be
He
fair.
praised it, yeah, exactly. Plus, he praised it to high heaven in this video because, like, Gigok up until that point was known as, like the moe hater. Basically what I am. The one person who could absolutely not get into the cute girls doing cute things thing. And then he found Girls Last Tour, and that kind of turned him.
I mean, that's the point. Like usually you'd either watch them all yourself or you'd ask your friends. But when not every anime fan follows anime YouTubers. Most of them don't. So when you when you decide on what to watch, it's either your friends or you yourself decide, and only a few start to look into YouTubers. And the ones that follow YouTubers, more often than not, also usually watch more seasonals because YouTubers like to keep up with the demand of more content. The most content they can make that is new and that is novel is with the new shows that come out. It's like a loop that is feeding itself.
Except that pretty much all AniTubers do, like, a kind of a 50-50 where, they go partly in on the...
Yeah, because they figured out
Yeah.
that doing that loop and just talking about all the new shit means they don't get to talk about the stuff that they like that isn't part of that. So they don't want to tie themselves to that, which is really smart. Because if you do tie
But they
yourself
figured
to
that out
that,
fairly
you're
early.
dead.
But they all figured that out fairly early. Like, that really did not take long at all.
No,
What
it
did
didn't
it take?
take long.
Maybe like a year, maybe 2 at most.
Yeah, tying yourself to that, to the seasonal cycle is death. And that's why that's also for just a normal watcher. I feel like you will eventually let that go and just watch whatever you want. And I feel like that's also it, right? There's always gonna have to be one show per season or more, but always at least one that's gonna be the hype of the season, even if it's not good. For example, Decadence.
Oh, like Danmachi? First season of Danmachi,
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
the only
yeah.
good thing about it was string
Yeah.
builds.
Yeah,
Not that I watched it, so
there
I
has
shouldn't
to.
judge.
People need to have an anime to look forward to, even if it's terrible in comparison to some other shows that came before. But that sets such a bad example for what anime can be. Because I mean, we're in 2020 now. If someone start watching now, or maybe even 2 years ago, and they're only watching seasonals plus a few popular shows, because once they get into the community, they start to want to talk with the community, and then they have to only talk about the new shows, because that's what's only be talked about. But they miss out on so much from back then. There are so many good shows in like the 2000s, in the 90s, in the 80s, that are just, they're kind of getting forgotten more and more. And it's kind of sad. It's kind of really sad.
I think it's probably going to be like a like a learning, like the community kind of maturing thing, because anime has only just recently gotten to basically that same point that gaming was in just before the 7th generation console war, where for each console just enough games were coming out that somebody could maybe possibly reasonably keep up with it, but it was getting more and more difficult. And so after the 7th generation, once the PS4 and Xbox came out, people just kind of stopped caring because there was no way of keeping up with everything. And so all of the reviewers, instead of going through all the games, became more and more selective about the games. And so the way that, video games were reviewed and looked at and treated became more mainstream, more like what you do with movies and what you do with TV shows and books. And I think anime is currently going through a very similar phase in which, because there's just so enough to consume, everybody thinks that you have to consume everything, or like keep up with everything at least. And it's just going to be a matter of time until there's so much content coming out where that's going to become completely impossible. And once we hit that point, the mindset is going to shift a lot, and we're going to go back to instead of like maybe going through the 1 or 2 shows each season that are, like good or at least talked about. But aside from those, putting more focus on the history of things and what is good and what has come before. And it's already starting, you have things with all of the remakes, people are going back to Fruits Basket with the remake being like, oh, this was a thing. Or, like with Higurashi coming out, a lot more people are realizing that, okay, this was a thing. This new thing is not really a remake, so let's go back and watch the old one because that's actually pretty good, So it's already starting, and I don't think it'll take that much longer until we get to that point.
I feel like it's only changing for the worst, because with the amount of anime we're getting each season is only more and more and more, and the resources are getting spread thinner and thinner and thinner over so many different shows.
That's what I just said, It's like at some point there's going to be so much anime coming out that people, like, nobody can reasonably keep up with everything, and so the seasonal cycle is eventually going to fade because it's becoming unreasonable.
I also think Netflix is going to kill the seasons as well. Because every show on Netflix, you want to get your show on Netflix, right? It's like, that's like a fucking break to put your show on Netflix.
Yeah.
That is not going to be, they just don't do seasonals. They do whenever the fuck they want. So you just can't, like, it just doesn't, they aren't compatible. It's either Netflix or it's seasonals. You have to pick one. And I think if you're a good company, you would pick Netflix.
I absolutely hate that so many people demand that, that Netflix simulcast.
No.
And I'm like, why?
No.
Just don't. There's no need for that.
Binge it.
That would just be feeding into the entire thing. Plus, if you drop everything at once, then you can still choose absolutely to binge it or watch it week by week, however you want.
People call it Netflix hell. I call it Netflix heaven.
Well, the problem Netflix has is the reason I can't stand Netflix is because they won't put it on unless they have everything. Like, if they're doing a dub, they won't put it on until they have the dub done as well. But if they're not doing a dub, they will not put it on until they have everything subtitled. They won't have it in every language. If you have it in English subtitled,
I don't find anything wrong.
Put it up in English so I can watch it. And then if you title it in Portuguese in a week, put Portuguese on in a week. I don't give a fuck. But I know why they don't do it. But it'll be easy for me, so I want it that way. Smart.
Yeah, because Netflix is like mostly US based, and US is like such a multicultural place where you have a lot of people who live in the US but don't actually speak English. So that wouldn't exactly be fair. That would be ableist.
But I want to watch it.
That's just language. But I feel like Netflix just wants to release a finished product.
It makes sense as a business point because they can say new release and everyone watches it. I understand why they do it, but it's annoying for me.
It's like when they say new release for you. I only speak Portuguese. Oh, but I can't.
Wait a week.
Wait a week while the rest of you can get to enjoy it all already.
Yeah,
sucks for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So.
But no, I can't watch it. It's so unfair. I want to watch it.
Have patience.
No, what's better? I've never heard of that before. I watch seasonals. I don't have patience.
Patience, young Skywalker.
You will get tired of the seasonals eventually.
Oh, I'm tired already. But I've got like Stockholm syndrome, so I'm in for the ride.
How do we get rid of that Stockholm syndrome? How do we make you stop?
Well,
give him another 2 or 3 years.
It's really bizarre. It's really bizarre because I got burnt out in anime in like mid 2018, and I wasn't binging seasonals then, but I just got burnt out because like, okay. I think I remember now. So before then, I was just watching what people would recommend, and I was like, this is like not fun for me. So then I came to the realization, oh, it's not fun because I'm trusting other people. I'm just gonna make the decision for myself. And so the only way to make the decision myself is to watch everything. But that means I have to watch all the bad ones.
Yeah, but you need to find the middle ground. You just need to
mature a little bit.
And he is the youngest of us by far. He'll grow up.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I don't know.
He'll figure it out. Yeah. No.
I mean, Speedy, both you and I, we only found like a good way of watching that works for us when we were both 25, 24.
I enjoy doing the randomized season thing. I think that's fun for me. It's kind of annoying that there'll be a show I want to watch and then never get that year. Ava.
Just fucking watch it.
Yeah,
No,
that's.
but
that's
no,
not, I mean,
but now okay. Maybe I just have like an attachment problem because now I feel really attached to my watching style. So I'm like, I don't want to break it for like one show.
No,
That
but you
feels
need
really
to. You
shitty.
need to. No, you need. No, okay, I get that. I do get that. But you need to get over that. Just let
Thanks.
it go.
You'd be a great
Just-
therapist, Speedy.
Just let it go. That's how it works,
I mean,
right?
to be fair,
if I tell
kinda
people
get that.
just do it.
To be fair, I kind of get that because like me going from top to bottom in terms of rating, I kind of have the same thing where there are some shows that I'm really looking forward to and I can't wait to get to them. But it's not as bad because like I know that most of the things that I'm going to watch until then are going to be equally as amazing. And in some cases, I have like really really nice surprises. Like I was absolutely not looking forward to watching Slime Isekai. And when I actually watched it and put it on, I'm like, oh my god, I'm in love.
Yeah, that's nice. That's the part of things where you don't have any control over what you watch. That's nice finding out that something you thought you weren't going to like, you actually like. But since
and then I was actually like, because of that, I was actually really hopeful for Shield Hero, and well, we discussed how that turned out.
Since you
Wait, Shield Hero is at 8.5.
8.
Yeah,
Oh,
Shield
wait.
Hero has like a really high rating. It's a 4.5.
Oh, that's a 9 out of 10. What the fuck? Anime Planet sucks. Why are you using that? Okay.
I don't know. I don't get it either. Like, I honestly do not get.
I thought shows are. I thought shows are too high rate. It's an 8. Oh, it's an 8 on fucking man. What is wrong?
What
God.
is wrong with humanity?
Anime fans.
People have shit too.
Kare Kano. Okay, what's Kare Kano's score? It's like a 7.6, is it not? I'm gonna have a fit.
You can do that. Go ahead. Oh man.
Kare Kano's a 7.6. Oh, I'm gonna.
He's having a breakdown.
See, this is why you didn't watch seasonals because people fucking do that.
People don't know what's good.
Exactly. I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna watch everything and tell them.
You're telling them right now.
To be fair, most of the shows that I've watched that had like really high ratings lived up to those ratings. Not all of them, Shield Hero, but most of them have lived up to it.
You do watch so much though. Like, and I remember when you were trying Gintama, and you were saying for the most part, oh god, I hate this and this and this about it. I don't like the comedy. When Gintama is half comedy, so you didn't like half of the show, but you still watched
like
what
most of the
200? You watched 202 episodes of Gintama.
Okay, but to be fair, that was actually like, how do I put this? Gintama came at the right place at the right time because I was working on my third year film, and a lot of it was like rendering and test rendering, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was working from home, so I didn't have Deadline, which is the distributor program at school that distributes the different frames to all of the computers, right? So there was a lot of, starting
Waiting.
renders, stopping renders,
Yeah.
waiting time, a lot of, like fixing small mistakes that didn't take too much of my attention. So I was working for like several weeks, I was working for 10 to 12 hours, for several weeks at a time, and I would just let Gintama run while I did that, and that's how I got through the episodes so fast, and, ended up not turning it off despite the fact that most of it just straight up bored me. So if it had been any other situation, any situation where I did not have, the luxury of distracting myself with something else, if I had like paid full attention to it, in most situations I would have dropped the show.
So
after,
you're
like,
saying the
first
show
two
was better
episodes.
because you didn't pay attention.
I said the show. The only reason why I got through a show that bad was because I didn't have to pay attention.
But you did
The
say
true meaning of turn your brain off, right there.
We did talk about it a lot, and she did seem to remember a lot of the important things, like the characters at least. But
To be fair though, like there are some things that I really like. The serious arcs, most of them anyways, like they have problems, but the serious arcs are great. The Yoshiwara arc, like I just put everything aside and I just paid full attention to that because the Yoshiwara arc is like legitimately great. Plus I actually learned quite a lot, just like looking up the places, because I remembered having heard a lot of these names before, and like in other anime or in books that I've read, I remember having like heard a lot of these names in Haruki Murakami books. So after that I actually looked them up. Like for example, Tokyo, Edo is like, I don't know if you knew that, but Edo is the old name
yeah,
for
I
Tokyo.
know. I realized
Yeah,
that.
things like that. And Yoshiwara is, was in that time, like, the only certified red light district in all of Japan, which is also an actual place. In Kabukicho, which is a district that still exists today, is a red light district now, but at that time was just, like, a normal neighborhood. So, like, all of the places are based, like, on real life, which is actually really cool, and on real history. But yeah, so, like, the series arcs, whenever a new series arc would start, I remember just, like, putting it down. And there would be episodes here or there that would catch my attention, usually the more sentimental ones, because you do spend so much time with the characters, you get to know them. So when Gintama puts on, like, the waterworks or, the life lessons or whatever, it actually really works, which is also nice. And then I found the one part of the humor, like, there were some episodes that just, like, made me laugh. They were few and far between, but they made me laugh so hard. Like, I was legit crying.
It's hit and miss.
Every episode where Kagura and Okita go at each other, like, are my favorite. Like, those two ripping each other apart, it's some of the most hilarious things I've seen in anime. Not lovely, complex, hilarious, but pretty damn close.
I'm pretty sure Pory hasn't seen Gintama.
I've seen the episode that you showed me, and I thought it was really not funny.
I agree. The episode that you really wanted me to watch was very much not funny.
Oh god, I love that. The skiing episode.
XD, his dick is in the snow. That is so funny.
Oh, come on, no. That's that's way out of context. I mean, there's
like
not much context there anyway, but
I remember the first episode that actually really made me laugh was the one where Gin was like it was in the middle of summer and their air conditioner broke and he was like on the search for a fan.
Oh yeah,
because he couldn't afford an air conditioner, and like he was just getting more and more and more frantic, and just watching Gintoki, who at this point had just been plain uninterested in everything. Right, he was just kind of the I'm not interested in anything around me type of character, slowly but surely losing it and descending into madness was actually pretty hilarious.
Oh, I do think the Gintama OPs are very funny. I will say that they are very funny.
All of them.
Well,
some of them are funny.
The ones I've
some
seen,
of them are like really good.
Yeah,
like
they're
just
good.
straight up
They're
good.
very good. They're very good.
I like the general tone that those OPs have. I don't know. They manage to always achieve the same thing, but I don't know how to describe it. It's like rocky / punky, but not too much.
One of the things that I've noticed about Gintama that it does much better than I think any other shonen out there is lighting and atmosphere. Like, lighting is my biggest weakness, lighting and colors, so like I just admire so much how much it nails it, especially cloudy scenes. Like, cloudy scenes are so hard to do well because like everything is desaturated, there's very little contrast, everything is just kind of gray, so making that look beautiful and interesting is such a challenge, and Gintama just nails it. And I was just marveling over it every single time there was like a rainy day episode.
The occasional Sakuga. I remember we were watching...
And the occasional Sakuga. I remember, like, you and I watched an episode together, and I just had to rewind that one scene, like, 10 times and just study it because it was so good.
The scene where Gin jumps into the sword in the Benizakura arc. People who've watched Gintama will know what it is. It's a really cool scene. I love that scene. It's one of the scenes I always remember.
So Gintama absolutely has its moments, definitely.
But it's an acquired taste, and you need to put in time to actually get to the point where you start caring about the characters. And once you start caring about the characters and knowing them and all of these characters, that's
and
when
even then 90%
you
of it falls flat.
For you, back when I watched it, I breezed through it, but I don't remember most of the normal humorous episodes. What I really remember it for is both the arcs and the emotional moments that it has now and then, and the way it manages to flip between the two, and sometimes get it right. Though you said like, oh, it's actually that's they do it really badly, I believe, how they flip between one and the other.
Yeah, the flipping doesn't work so well, but like when it plays it straight, especially the emotional moments, when it plays those straight, the emotional episodes, it hits really well. When it wants to go serious and dark and sticks with it instead of like constantly flip-flopping, it does it really well. Like, the humor is very hit or miss, I find. I know Noxtako really loves the humor, and like all of the parts that he points out, I'm like, this is just dumb. That's all it is. It's just dumb. It's just dumb people doing dumb shit. Like, that's, I mean, sure, if that's for you, I guess. But so, because like most of the humor is dumb humor, and like I've never been one for dumb humor, So most of the humor just does not hit for me, but because you know the character so well at some point, you know, like when it turns the humor off and just, you know, goes on full on sentimental, emotional, dark, you name it, anything that is not humor, it hits, and it hits well.
Well, that was our Gintama review segment. I believe we're mostly at the end. I picked this topic mostly on a whim because I didn't really know what else, and we do have some other stuff in the pipeline, but I wanted to wait with that for a little longer.
That's not how you use the word pipeline.
It's not?
Wait, why is it not?
No.
No, I'm pretty sure it is.
Because pipeline is a different word for the workflow. Pipeline is what you use to describe the workflow. You know, something going from one, like a project going from one person, one expert to the next.
No, I'm pretty sure this
That's
is
the
meant
pipeline.
to say we still have some ideas.
Pipeline
in the
is
which
it goes from A to B to C.
Yes, but it means that has nothing to do with, you know, what is like what we have in stores still.
This
That's
is irrelevant. Let's say it a different way. We still have a lot of other topics in store, but this is the one I needed to prop something else in here. We still want to definitely talk about something like anime cannibalism, which is a term we've dropped before, but did we coin that? Has it existed before, the term? We actually
pipeline?
mentioned no anime cannibalism, the process of making
I'm pretty
anime
sure
just...
like you were the first person I ever heard say that, and I think you like. I remember having like real difficulties when I dropped, you know, when I suffered from anime fatigue and I just stopped watching it. And you know, when I moved to the US, I had like this period of like 2 to 3 years where I just didn't watch any anime at all because I was just so sick and tired of all of the anime cannibalism, as we call it now. But I remember having like real trouble explaining that very concept to you.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly after that, you know, you came up with that term. You know, it's like they're all. It's like they're all eating each other up, so cannibalism.
We also, I think Pokemon is also an episode we eventually want to do. That
One
will
of
be
these
fun.
days.
Yeah, but one of these episodes.
Have you seen Twilight Wings, Sheila?
No.
You need to watch that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch a lot of Pokemon. I have more important things.
It's
to
like
watch,
it's like 45 minutes total. It's only 45 minutes total. Okay, it's really good. It might be anime of the year.
Fine.
Azoken is probably better, but it's at least second.
I've watched Azoken already.
Okay, it's at least second. At least second.
What was it called? Can you type it into the chat?
If there's anything of Pokemon I should watch before a Pokemon episode, what should it be?
Before a Pokemon episode? What else are you gonna fucking watch?
Before our Pokemon podcast episode. Is there anything I should be catching up on? I should be knowledgeable about.
For your general knowledge, you should watch Generations.
Yeah.
For your general knowledge, you need to watch Generations. Okay.
Okay.
You should watch Twilight Wings because it's fucking insane.
Okay.
I would say like if there's any one Pokemon like any one Ash Ketchum thing you should watch, it would be the third movie.
Wait, is that the Entei one?
The one with the unknown. Yeah, that's the Entei unknown one. That's like the only good movie.
Charizard vs Entei is sexy. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna watch that when we're done.
That is not the.
God, that is a good fucking fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is absolutely not the word I would have used to describe it.
It's very attractive.
Any of the main series? Any of the main series that I should try out?
2019 is the best one, but I don't know if that's the best one to watch. I feel Sheila, have you watched any of the newest Pokemon? Like the main season? You probably haven't.
No,
Okay.
I stopped after Diamond.
I strongly
because
believe.
Iris got on my nerves.
I strongly believe that 2019 is the best one. That's a pretty hot take, probably.
Oh, the one with Serena?
No, with Go, like the newest one with Go.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's a hot take though, because I know Mother's Basement did the exact same thing.
Okay.
Well, you stole it from Pory.
But it's also
Yeah.
very.
I watched it
different from,
first.
anything that
Yeah,
had come
that's-
before it.
You
So.
watched it first.
Yeah, that's
Claimed
true.
it.
That's why.
Fuck you.
That's why it's the
Fuck
best.
you and your ego.
That's
Your fucking ego.
that's
Get off your high horse.
that's why it's
Asshat.
that's why it's the best
You have
one.
you have no business being that
That's
proud
why
of
it's the
yourself.
best
He's
one.
planted the
I'm not
Pory
gonna let you
flag
finish
there.
any sentence.
That's why it's the best one because it is very different.
No, but is that the
But
Alola
yeah,
one?
but
Or is did that
No,
come
that's
before?
that's God, I hate. Sword and Shield is so bad. I forget what the region's called. Galar. There we go. Which is set in Britain, which is pretty sick.
Oh, that's why you like it.
No, not quite.
that
Doesn't feel.
explains a lot.
Doesn't feel. It's not very British, to be honest. Well, yeah, it's not very British.
Is it cartoon?
Is it what Japanese think British
There's a
are?
wheezing with a
British,
monocle,
British.
so I guess it's pretty British, right?
Yeah, it's exactly what the Japanese think British are. Honestly,
Does he have
like
a top
watching
hat?
anime. Does he have a top hat?
Yeah. He has two top hats because it's wheezing. Yeah, there's two.
Okay, sorry. I had to ask.
There's two top hats.
How British?
We should make an episode about, like how the Japanese represent the rest of the world. Because it's not just anime, like even in their movies, like how they represent Americans and Europeans is like some of the most hilarious bullshit you've ever seen.
I mean, the other way
Like
around is
Ameri-
just the
like
same.
No. It's much, much worse that way. Like the other, like our way, like the way we represent the rest of the world has absolutely nothing on how the Japanese represent the rest of the world. It's another level of cultural appropriation. Let's put it that way.
We'll get to that then.
It's like 1960s era American TV cultural appropriation.
Yeah, so that's gonna happen. We're gonna have. There's a lot in store for the episodes that are coming. With a variety of topics. But
By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, because like when was the last time we actually like talked to our listeners? Like if you're watching this on YouTube, type down in the comments if there are any topics you want us to talk about.
Oh yeah, we didn't say that yet. but
Question
yes,
of the
give
day.
us- we did that last time, but we
Question of the day: do you hate Kaon, and why is the answer yes?
No, they all love Cal. They're all very intelligent.
our
you.
listeners are all intelligent. They all know.
You
how-
are
They all-
you two are just degenerates.
That's probably true.
That's probably true. Two degenerates and an elitist. Here we go.
Exactly.
That's the setup to a very funny
we
joke.
should rename our podcast.
That's the setup to a very funny joke. Two degenerates and an elitist walk into a bar. That's very funny.
Someone finished that joke. Someone finished that joke.
Question of the day.
We need-
Question of the day. Finish the joke.
Finish the joke. Finish the joke. The best one gets a shout out in the next episode.
Fuck you. Probably not in the next episode because like we're editing this at such a slow rate that like the episodes come out several months
Yeah. In
after we
3
actually
years,
film
you'll get your response. Yeah.
Yeah, but like you'll get your shout out eventually. All right, this was your girl Sheila Cat. Please rate, comment, and subscribe to make us big.
Hit that bell button so you always get notifications for us. So you know when we upload
Oh,
a new video.
I'm dying.
Oh,
Pory, please say
man.
something that makes me mad so that I can stop laughing.
that's not very hard. This would be really easy.
Especially for him.
Moe is the pinnacle of
Yeah.
anime.
Ken was the best anime of 2010s.
What was the best anime?
Keon. It was the
Yeah.
peak of the decade. Keon.
Easiest.
I've never
It was the
even
peak
heard of Keon.
You're being intentionally dense, aren't you?
No, actually, no, I'm not. I'm still giggling, so I have trouble actually hearing what you say.
Oh, I thought you were making fun of me.
Yes. Aren't I always?
Yeah. I just assume you are. That's like your neutral state. So.
It is.
She's
My neutral
looking down
state is
upon
being
us.
a shitbag.
She always looks down
I mean,
upon
I
us.
am an elitist. What do you expect?
She's watched Galactic Heroes.
Yeah, true.
I've watched Legend of the Galactic Heroes. I have every right to look down upon you plebs.
Until I watch it.
Oh, I can't even say I watched it first. That fucking sucks.
But you know what? You will never ever watch an anime first. It's gonna always be the person that makes it.
True.
It's actually always going to be the test audience.
Wait, the test audience watches it before the people who've made it?
Yes, because the people who've made it, like most of them, unless they're the
Right, of
directors,
course.
don't actually watch the thing. Like they work on a part of it, but they don't see the entire finished product until it officially comes out. That's what a test audience is here for.
I mean, the test audience looks at a lot of different versions, right? So
No, the test audience looks at the version at the most current version.
Yeah.
And then they give feedback, and according to the feedback, things are changed.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's another test audience.
So okay, the test audience in general looks at a lot of different versions. Is what I meant. Not the same.
The test
people, of
audiences look at the different versions. Yeah.
Over the test screening phase, they will watch several versions.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Yeah. To be entirely honest, I don't really know if that's the case for anime too. I know that's how it works in movies.
I'm sure there's an anime about making anime that will have some watered down
It's
version
called-
of how it works.
Isn't it called Shirobako?
Yeah, Shirobako.
I haven't watched Shirobako yet, but I've
Or
heard
Girlish
about it.
Number,
So
if you want to
probably-
watch the worst version. Or...
Here's the fun thing: is like anime like this are like really like weird for me to watch because like I know exactly what all of the accuracies and inaccuracies are, and so I'm like,
yeah, you'd hate
I
Girlish Number.
kind of get why they made that decision because storytelling, but like that's really not how it
Right.
works. So please
that's
don't.
What you were commenting about the same thing when we were watching Aizuken together.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I
do
remember
you like
just
Aizuken?
stopping all the time and explaining like this is not how it
Do you
works.
like Aizuken?
I do.
Okay.
Mostly, I don't like how it ended. Like, how would I put this? The third was a bit underwhelming. Like,
Yeah,
I like how it
I
started.
did think that
And after that,
the
it just kind of like
the
lost focus.
the scene
like,
where
where's
they're
this going?
fighting the aliens doesn't have the emotional payoff that you would want it to have. I agree with that.
Yeah. Like, after the first screening, it just, kind of like flutters off in the wind and loses focus. But everything up until then was great. Like, again, very infuriating in points because I'm like, this is not how it works. But every decision made, made a lot of sense and was there for a reason. And, so it was very competently made and I liked it a lot. But I can't quite get over that is not how it works mindset.
You gonna pick it for anime of the year?
No.
What are you
Well,
gonna
maybe.
choose?
No, like, the reason why I corrected myself to maybe is because I've barely watched
Yeah,
any anime
Yeah.
this
the
year.
whole-
Well,
So I
there
can't
aren't
really-
that many candidates to watch, so you're fine.
For the podcast, Pory, you will be the decider of what is anime of the year, and no one
it's
will be
Aizuken.
able to
I've
tell
already
you
finished.
otherwise.
Yeah, it's
because
Aizuken.
No one
I
watches
already know the
seasonals.
answer. I already know what the answer is. I don't need to want.
No one can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
because I think the only ones that I've watched were Aizuken and then like season 4 part 1 of Haikyuu, and I think those are the only seasonal the only 2020 shows I've watched so far.
Okay, well
I mean,
you've watched 4 of the 3 shows that I actually even I'm gonna
yeah,
remember. So
you didn't miss much.
yeah, there are literally 4 shows. One of them is Twilight Wings, which is 45 minutes long. That I will remember from this year. So it shouldn't be that hard for you to watch them all.
But I believe that we have reached the end, though. Much more banter will be coming afterwards, but that will be for us only to hear. That's, at least for me, the end. So, God. I hate ending these things so much. I'm so bad at it.